before I start, I just want to say we're not hiring, and this is not really true. So just take that before I start, because you're all going to go out and you'll be like, oh, a new CV, I'm going to get a job. But if you don't blame me. Okay, let's go. So nobody else had a title slide, so I feel a bit silly now. But my name is Karen Reilly. And the problem with this slide was I didn't have enough content for it. So I said my name was actually Ren, and I'm just telling you that. But I'm going to be talking about how you can get a job or have better prospects by telling a story taken from user experience. So you're probably thinking, Ren Reilly, that's an alliterative name. Is she a superhero? Well, am I a superhero? You never know. I don't look like that woman at all, but I like to think I do. And then I go on to say things like, I want to save people from badly designed websites and products. And then your mind is blown. You're like, well, is she or isn't she? Like, what's going on here? So I'm just starting with a bit of mystique and intrigue to get you interested. I want to talk about our industry, the UX industry, the design industry. It's getting overcrowded. Our roles are merging. UX designers, UI designers, what's the difference? We know, but nobody else does, and that's a problem. And it's hard to get into the yes bucket for interviews because they don't understand what you do. So hands up if you think you have some of these qualities. Any of them? If you don't, leave now. So I think this is what we're like. It's what I try to be and what our designers try to be. And then you look at a traditional CV like this and you're like, well, where are you? Where did you lose your soul? And why did you make this horrible document that says, yeah, I got a first, I'm awesome. But what did you get him first in, and how did you make it happen? So these are things that recruiters generally say. That's poor spelling and grammar is one of the pet hates. It's the worst thing you can do. A logical order for presentation they like. Tell a story. That's what it says to me. Biggest pet hate, I enjoy socializing. We say things like that because we're trying to fit in with this, the cultural fit. I don't wear this to work, but I don't wear that to work either. What should I wear? I don't know, because I don't understand what that means. So we're trying to fit in, but saying you have a few beers with friends at night doesn't help. So let's try to start with the basics. Let's get that right first. So your CV should obviously be legible. It has to be printable because people will bring it to the meetings that they're having with you. Try not to be cocky, but be honest about who you are. This is one of my favorite quotes. You have to know your audience. You have to direct your CV at your audience. Do not send a generic CV ever again. Just don't. Know yourself, know what you're able to do, and know your audience. So the risque approach is something totally different that we can talk about at the bar. But right now we'll talk about the risky UX approach, and that is to tell a story, to instill empathy in the people who are reading it, and engage your audience. I do have to say, legally, that this does not always work, okay? If you go out of here and you make a lovely presentation and everyone's like, that's awful, you sound like a knob. That's not my fault, okay? Just so we know. So ways to get noticed and be remembered. You can make a cereal box if you want. That's cool if you're a product designer. You can make an infographic. You can make a billboard that says, save me from emigration. Anything that's different is interesting and it will grab my attention. But, code red, if you are not a monkey using a yellow telephone, you should not have that picture on your CV, okay? Because you're trying to tell me something about yourself. So don't let the medium interfere with it. Everything that can be invented has been invented, okay? You can't copy. That's actually a misquote, but don't believe everything you read. So you can't copy other people. You can copy the medium, but you can't copy the story. It has to be yours. So how do you find out what your story is? Use the UX approach. Observe and explore your own life. Find out what makes you different. For me, this picture makes me different, and you'll understand why in a minute. But every story has a beginning, middle, end, and this story needs a beginning as well because it's your next chapter. So I grew up in Leitrim. That was Leitrim. It's a beautiful place, but it makes people laugh at me. So I used that in my CV that I used last year. My middle was that I learned how to do all of these things, but nobody understood what they were, and I didn't understand what job I could actually do with them. So I made a joke about it, and I said, well, I'll do anything, basically, within reason, just so we're clear. And then my my end is also my beginning, because I'm telling my employer, my future employer, that this is where I'm going to work. I'm going to stick myself on a crop of your website, and I'm going to say, that's me, I look good with you. So, does it work? It worked for me. I had a 75% success rate. That's totally made up. So I felt like I was more powerful in the whole process. I felt like the decision was mine, because I got a lot of job offers and I made the decision of who I wanted to work with, and now I have to leave. So, thank you.